Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. Thank you so much for joining us today. Joining me today is CJ Gibson.
What's up?
Fran Mirabella.
Hey, Guardians.
And Sean Finnegan.
Chomp chomp.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like the audio version of this show, please take a moment and leave a review because it helps us grow. Now, today we'll be catching you up on Destiny news at the top. Later we'll discuss the current events in the game and how we're liking them, touch briefly on the upcoming patch, and finally we'll talk all about the platforms Destiny 2 is coming to and some thoughts we have about each. First, the news. In Destiny 2 news, head of Xbox Phil Spencer mentioned the sequel while talking about the new Scorpio console, saying Destiny 2 is going to be one of these games that I expect 5, 6, 7 years from now, people are still going to be playing that game. It's going to be a little bit like WoW, which whatever it's been, 10 years later, 15 years later, millions of people still play the game. So he's saying it's going to have transmog and be even more addicting? I'm down if you are, Mr. Spencer. By the way, Phil is no slouch in the Destiny department. He boasts having 600 hours spent in the game. Not too shabby for the head of an entire brand. That was only Destiny 2 tease this week, so let's look at Destiny 1. Trials of Osiris is going to be getting a very important patch addressing those matches that won't end due to a bug. The patch is 2.6.0.2, and it should release this month. Via the update, there will also be the 6th anniversary of the Men in Kilts and 4th annual Tabletop Gauntlet fundraiser soon. Those charitable events help people in need, so if you're interested in lending a hand, consider donating to their cause. King's Fall is the 390 raid this week, and many have acquired those beautiful new exotic primaries, but Wrath of the Machine is right around the corner, so if you like either of those, you're in for a treat. Also, Iron Banner is still going on and continuing until April 18th at 2 a.m. If you're looking to finish out your Age of Triumph book and need that particular node filled out, be sure to hop in and level up to rank 5. By the way, you have until August 1st, 2017 to 100% the book if you're going to get that custom t-shirt, so you have plenty of time. And of course, the May 18th gameplay reveal for Destiny 2 is about 1 month away, so be sure to keep your eyes on IGN.com for all of our Destiny 2 news until that day when we get our first look. That's the big news this week. Expect more on IGN as stories develop. Fran, CJ, you guys actually experienced the Trials bug this week, so what happens exactly?
Yeah, it's literally what you said. Like, it's weird. You thought the match was over and you won, and then nothing's
You're just
happening.
stuck there.
Yeah. You're stuck.
So they're
all dead.
I was having a crazy moment, and as the guy who was last alive, which is rare because normally Lovebree is taking care of business.
He's your third.
He's a third. I was sniping guys, and I watched them go down, and then all of a sudden, I didn't see their body, but I was following it, and then the orb where they were at was rising up. So I saved it. It's super odd, and you don't know what's happening. So
yeah, the prickly part is that, so in this actual example, it was 4-4. We won into the 5th, and so we should have had that moment on the card and moved on.
Yeah.
But it became a standoff. Who will leave first? You were there an indefinite amount of time from that point on.
Yeah.
And so you have to basically go in and message the other team is one of your only ways out and say, hey, be a good sport. We obviously won that match because we had, obviously if you're in the middle of another round, that could be a huge problem. People will just stay there.
You guys actually called them up, sort of. You got them on PlayStation.
Because it was odd. I think we were ahead 4-3 or 4-2. I can't remember, but
we just won the last part of the
I was about
round.
To kill the last guy, and then it was so weird because they kept rezzing everybody, and I'd kill them, and they'd res and kill them. Yeah. Finally, it was the 3 of us alive, the 3 of them dead. And we're looking at each other like, why is the match not ending? What's happening? So you think they're cheating. You go through that mode where, they're cheating. You realize they're not.
Yeah,
we join the chat, and they're like, are you guys glitching? Is it a bad connection? You're reporting things. So it's cool that at least within the Destiny community, you know, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
This is weird.
Yeah.
But
yeah, on both sides, it was a glitch.
But again, we clearly won, so leave, go and appreciate that. We kind of hope we have a rematch because something's weird. That's nice to hope for, but if that happens in the future, I guess is what I'm saying. Be a good sport if you already lost. Get out of there. People are trying to move on, and I'm not blaming this team.
Win at all costs.
Nobody. No, that is not the thing to do.
If it's in the game, it's in the game.
And
I've seen Grenader
yeah.
Jake. I've been watching his streams lately. He stayed in a match for something crazy 3 hours. And just because he's like, I'm not going to leave.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
And we felt bad. It was their elimination round. I think we were at 8 or 7 wins or something. but we had won.
We won
So
it.
it was one of those things where, we were just kind of like,
I know you won.
You want to chill here?
We won. Let's go.
And that was good.
And don't forget, this type of stuff has happened before, so whatever. They'll fix it. It's confusing. We had during the Halloween stuff, the round was, I think it was loading between matches. I don't know if you guys experienced this, and it was in trials. It went to like an all black screen. It's just like sitting on a black screen.
So what?
With like an overlay. We had to just bounce out. It screwed us.
Oh, really?
So stuff like this does happen, but good to see.
You had those 3 wins in the bag.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, it was during doubles, I think, actually.
Okay.
Maybe. No, it wasn't doubles. It was the Halloween stuff. But in any event, it happens, and I'm glad they're fixing it.
Yeah, byproduct of big patches. So
Yeah.
So they have addressed it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be fixing it this month.
Because the last one was basically the Warlock res at the end of the round, which kind of got fixed with scories you needing a kill too. A lot of people would res and then you just scory farm. You're like,
Yeah, thank goodness that.
so
has
that's
resolved
fixed now.
itself.
So yeah.
So the real big news this week was Phil Spencer talking about Destiny 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that Scorpio news. So I put a poll on my Twitter, and just the fact that Destiny 2 is coming to Scorpio, PC, and the PlayStation 4 platforms is really interesting. So I got about 2,500 responses. 48% said Scorpio, 9% said PC, and 43% said PS4. I thought it might be a little skewed, but other people were saying they had similar results from other polls that were put out there. Maybe a little heavier towards the PlayStation 4 brand. But I like that it was pretty even among the consoles. And I think the PC market isn't following the people who are playing Destiny 1 right now, and that's why we're not hearing it as much from them.
And just for clarity, was it only these 3 choices? Like Xbox One was to act as Scorpio, they were the same thing?
So I said Xbox One /Scorpio, PS4 /PS4 Pro, or PC.
So it wasn't so much about just Scorpio, it was about Xbox One platform.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, as a platform. So do you think Scorpio, this is kind of what you talked about last week, Sean. And
Yeah,
the way
I brought it up. I
Yeah.
brought it up at the end of the show just because I thought it was interesting that Sony has obviously spent a lot of time and money and investment positioning Destiny as one of the key PlayStation franchises. There've been, with exclusive content, with it being on the Sony stage at E3. Obviously, they kind of they're making that case for PlayStation to be the best place to play this game. Yet here we have this opportunity for Microsoft to come in and say, but while all of that's probably still true, Destiny will be the best experience in terms of graphics or features or whatever it is on Scorpio. And I was wondering if, as you guys as PlayStation players, does that give you a second thought, or might that be something? Oh, hey, well, maybe I should consider this as a PlayStation player.
Of course it does. Scorpio is going to be much more powerful than the Pro. I haven't upgraded to a Pro yet, and I am getting a Scorpio. I know that because I'm on an Xbox Day 1 right now. And I'm like, I skipped the S because I know the Scorpio's coming, and that's when I'm going to invest. And it might be the same time I get the Pro because they're probably going to discount their console. It's just a smart buying decision because I don't make a lot of money. Anyway, I'm gonna buy those platforms at that time, and I'm really excited about it. Now, because of my progression on PlayStation, I don't know that I'm gonna make the jump yet, only because of those exclusives.
So, totally interesting.
I'm waiting to hear what Xbox has to say about the exclusives. Phil clearly cares about his brand.
So
obviously.
So that's all well and good, but you won't have progression per se to carry over.
I want to know what it is. I know my character's appearance, which I don't really care about, to be frank.
Just, you're not really
what
saying.
else is going to go? Emblems, shaders, maybe. Like, what kind of other rewards are we going to get for making that jump? Are we going to be able to transfer our characters? Those are all questions that I'm asking.
That, to me, that's the biggest one. And I came over initially being an Xbox guy for 10 plus years. I played all those Halo games. To think about leaving PlayStation now because of the people I've met in the community, that's almost a bigger tie for me as anything.
Yeah. Has Bungie learned from the exotic exclusive thing, though? Are they going to make it all like legendaries where I'm like, oh, PlayStation gets some legendary exclusives? I don't care. Now I can consider all my platforms as my options.
Legendaries are the best, actually.
They're cool looking.
I'd
give them
prefer
that.
some legendary exclusives.
The problem comes in, especially
don't
for our
encourage
job.
it.
I feel like I have a responsibility to play all the content that's available, and I can only do that on
for
PlayStation.
sure.
Yeah.
I was just joking that I want awesome roles like the Hawks Off Ender.
So yeah,
Not just
it
exotics.
totally makes sense for you guys. I mean, not just you guys, but us in general as content creators and streamers to be able to play on the platform where you have access to 100% of the content. I personally have a little bit less of a stake in terms of creating Destiny content on the regular than you guys do for IGN while I am on this show. So it's not as important to me. Plus, again, Stagger Sticks for life. I'm never going to betray the console because of that. I can't play
Just
shooters.
buy a stick with stagger sticks.
Can't do it. At the same time, though, like, I just think that that's a really interesting position to be in if you're Sony, right? Like, I don't know that they can do anything to combat the idea that Microsoft might come in and be like, yeah, Sony's offering all this stuff for Destiny, but the experience is going to be best. Why? Because our console's more powerful. And that seems like, okay, how does Sony combat that? Like, or do they even?
Let's continue the conversation, but I want to read Phil's full quote here. I read it at the beginning, but so here's what he said in the interview. So when we thought about our tools, I said, okay, games are going to live longer than we've used them, than we're used to them living on our platform, which means from the service capability and monetization standpoint, we've got to go build tools so they can continue to give content and services and other things to the customers. Seeing games like Destiny get born this generation makes a ton of sense. And then he goes on to talk about but also these games are going to probably start to span generations. You know, if you think about like Destiny 2 is coming this year, I picked Destiny because I have 600 hours into the game, but you know, Destiny 2 is going to be one of those games that I expect like 5, 6, 7 years from now. And then he goes on to talk compared to WoW. Like, so it's really interesting that he brings up the services around a game like Destiny. LFG is fantastic on Xbox.
Yeah, that's actually a big push. I mean, that's something, again, maybe I'm a little bit biased here because I've kind of always been more of an Xbox guy than a PlayStation, even though I've owned every PlayStation console. Traditionally, Microsoft being a PC-first platform and a services-first company has better features and functionality than Sony does in that regard when it comes to Xbox Live. If you look at the trend in the AAA space of games, AAA games becoming more service-oriented, then it's not much of a logical leap to think that in the future games will span generations, like Phil says in his quote, and that in that regard, in the long run, Destiny might be the better or stronger experience on Xbox. I just think that's a really interesting thing.
Don't forget PC. PC is going to be probably visually the best just because graphics card can easily be upgraded in the future. So you can't count them out either. Fran, you have something you wanted to say.
Yeah, I was going to comment on your question, actually, but I'm joking. Yeah, I've had a lot of thoughts about this. I mean, I think for starters, you have to define what your reasons are. Like, that's where it's not, you can't go out and be Phil and say, yo, I got the most powerful console. It's going to be best on Scorpio. I know that's not his intent. It's partially marketing, but like, best doesn't just mean that it performs best, right? To your point, PC, if that looks best, you can customize all your controllers, keyboard. That doesn't mean that it's the best. It's what's best for you. And I go back to what CJ said, which was, you know, it's about the community. That's what Destiny's about.
Exactly.
For me. It's very hard for me to think about, never mind, you know, exclusive maps or exclusive weapons, which I do love. It's still about the community. Like, if I log on and do not have a bevy of folks to play with, or my core team. And so really, that's number one. If you already have a team, you got to ask them where they're going. Yeah. So we've already decided on PS4, but I'm hoping to play on every platform, like I said. I said it on last week's show, I think, but I really hope to see cross-platform play. It's Microsoft's strongest play. So now you've got me on Windows 10. Therefore, I'm on PC, I'm on my Scorpio, I'm on my Xbox One, I'm on my PlayStation 4 Pro. Boom, I'm set. Now, that for me is a double purchase, but I'm willing to do that if you get that crossplay. Without it, no, I'm not just going to get the graphics on Scorpio probably are not going to be enough to turn me away from weapon exclusives probably and stuff like that, and the community. That's not good enough. I can always play on PC as well, right?
My whole thing is my raid crew. You know, shout out to Xavier, Goji, Pat Matt, Champ, and Bob, Winnie Bob.
Bob.
Those guys raid with me every single Tuesday at 8 on the stream. Yeah. And they're reliable. They're there every Tuesday. I know they'll wait. Yeah. We'll wait for each other. And it's really nice to have a group like that. It's going to be really hard to say, hey, I'm going to bounce to Xbox. Hey, I'm going to bounce to PC and build up that sort of repertoire.
Yeah, and I'm not talking, and to clarify my comments, I'm not talking about best experience not encompassing the things that are obviously innate to the game, like who you play with and stuff, right? Obviously, all of that stuff always factors in, right? Doesn't matter if the graphics are better if you have no one to play with. But at the same time,
I'm still going to play on. Sorry.
Like, it's now interesting for me to speculate like that the situation might be reversed. As an Xbox player, this last year or two of 3 of Destiny, I've had to play on my platform knowing that there is a
Yeah.
better experience out there
Right.
on PlayStation 4. Will it be the same for PlayStation 4 players, knowing that if this is the case, and we don't know that it is, knowing that potentially the graphics are a little better, the frame rate's a little bit more stable,
4K
controls
60.
better, 4K 60 or whatever on Xbox Scorpio, and does that cause you any concern? That's all
I
I'm saying.
hope it's better because Xbox players deserve better than they've gotten the last generation with the exclusives.
Just go play Overwatch, though. I think that's where, like, look, you can make a lot of assumptions about what's going to happen. But what I'm saying is Overwatch performs awesome on PlayStation for the most part. Now, I don't play a
And Xbox
ton.
and PC.
Yeah, but my point is it's a smooth experience. So we can't assume just because there's more power between Xbox One and Scorpio that it's actually got performance issues. I get your point, by the way, Sean.
I'm not-
but
yeah, I'm not-
what you
What's the
said
most-
stability, and that doesn't. There's no reason they can't get it to run at 60 at 1080p.
No, but my
That's
thing
their
is like,
choice.
even if it's demonstrably proven to be not the case, like there is parity across PlayStation 4
Yeah.
Pro and Xbox 3 and Xbox Scorpio, you can count on Microsoft saying it's still the most powerful console. It's going to be better.
Yeah, of course.
Guys,
It'll
I
have
just
one.
realized CJ is still here.
No, I know.
And he wants to say something.
No, it's one of those things where I think Microsoft has a lot of catching up to do. It's not just about those things because think about it. We came into this generation, Call of Duty 4, Destiny, there's a whole lot of brands that flipped. That's still crazy in my mind that actually occurred because Call of Duty was like by far Xbox for
Yeah.
life.
Oh, yeah.
Here we are. It's PlayStation now. When did that happen? You know, so
Over the first 2 years of the lifespan of that console where it didn't deliver on what we wanted. Right?
So for that reason alone,
Yeah.
to me, Xbox will need to play catch up long before the Scorpio is going to get released, and the install base is not going to be huge. So to me, it's like we're years away from it catching up.
It's funny that it's like that's, putting aside how this game's going to perform. Like, just look at the dashboard for Xbox. Like, we all
Yeah,
still
the
have
UI.
issues with it, and they've made a lot of awesome improvements, by the way. But like, never mind new hardware. They've got some like simple infrastructure things that are gonna.
The UI.
That's what you need to turn people over
Which
to
is
that platform.
crazy because
The
Xbox
Blade
Live
system
was
was
amazing.
fantastic.
I know for so
Or
many
whatever they
years.
called it for the later
but
versions.
Blades, okay.
Initially,
yes, they
it was
were
really
amazing.
good.
Not the
You
blades
can't
or whatever
make the
they
argument that the
whatever they
blades
created.
would work in today's
Put
media
aside the
environment.
blades.
No.
Put aside the blades.
The new
though.
Xbox experience, the 360, when it launched, with early versions of Kinect, that was super rock solid too. Like PlayStation implemented a bunch of those features, party chat, all that stuff that was in Xbox, and
Well,
they
simple.
removed it for Xbox One.
It's
Or-
about
or, you know.
honestly. I think for most gamers, about speed. I don't know if that's true for everyone, but like I'm
Yeah.
sure you could agree. Even with the latest UI improvements, it's too slow, man. It's just clunky.
So I've said this on Unlocked. I don't really notice these
Really?
things.
Yeah.
maybe
like-
it's my Xbox. I like go over to that
No.
new left
Like, I
nav
have
and
a-
it's like
My
loading.
Xbox is really, really laggy on the dashboard.
Like,
I don't
I
know
have a-
how you got lucky and you don't have those problems,
Yeah,
but
I don't know what it
I have
is. Like, I have
really,
a-
really bad dashboard problems.
It could also be because I don't know how often you play
I'm
PlayStation.
I'm
but
making
is
it sound
that-
really bad. It's just laggy and it'll literally freeze for a few seconds before it goes
Yeah,
to
it's
the
not
next
the end of
thing.
the world. I have the same
Yeah.
problem. It's
I don't want it to
slow.
sound like it's not functional.
Yeah,
That's not
it's-
No,
accurate.
and so that's the thing is like I guess my thing is again I don't really have. It's hard for me to describe my basis for comparison because UI speed isn't like when I'm judging things in terms of milliseconds, like it's all nonsense to me. Like whether or not it's 10 milliseconds or 20 milliseconds, when it comes to the UI, I could care less.
But this is
Well, how about
potentially like
the
what's
Bungie UI when you hop into Destiny? You need to pop heavy ammo and you're
Yeah.
waiting.
Oh, see,
There it
that's
is.
annoying
Yes.
because that
Yeah.
affects gameplay. Like
Yeah.
I was
It does.
playing, the raid challenge, which we'll talk about
yeah.
later. But like I pop in and I'm like
Crouch
waiting.
Loading.
I know exactly the icon. I know the square where my heavy is.
Yep.
And I'm just waiting for it to populate so I can pop my heavy and get back to shooting things. It's
Yeah.
just that's
Sometimes you have a
frustrating.
5-stack, you redeem one, then it moves, and you redeem
Yeah.
something you adjust to, and you're like, great, I have a pumpkin in for a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and you can't discard those. You
Yeah.
have to use them. By the way. Yeah.
But those are the kind of issues when you start seeing comparison videos that I think might play into it for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Oh well, I mean, so that's totally the thing. Is like, okay, so put yourself in Bungie.
Yeah. Our microphones are-
Put yourself in Bungie's position. If you're designing a game for multiple platforms and one of them clearly offers you the ability to do a little bit more, as an artist, as a developer, are you not going to want to take advantage of that?
of course,
And if that's the case, and you can, again, assume or speculate that maybe the fidelity of graphics or
Spec.
frame rate will be better on Xbox Scorpio, like... how much does that weigh into your decision about?
Very little, to answer your question. Very little, because I'm too rooted in the community and they have exclusive content still.
Yeah.
Now, if the exclusive content part goes away, then I have to be like, hey, Raid Team, do you guys want to move platforms? And if they say yes, then I'm open to it. But if they say no,
Staggered
then I
sticks.
realize,
Staggered sticks.
hey, I have to build a whole new group of people that are willing to raid every Tuesday at 8.
Yeah, and
know.
I think it's important to remember now, it may not pan out this way, but 4K is one of the major objectives. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to play on a TV that's 4K, Scorpio becomes very important to you, if that is important. But that is not a huge set of gamers yet. Like, right, there's a reason it's a 4 times more powerful GPU.
Yeah.
Rendering about 4 1080p screens, by the way. So, when you factor that in, right, you can go for that super crisp 4K 60, hopefully, experience. But again, like, are they going to design a bunch of stuff for 1080p? That is a big enough leap between, right?
They
PS4
are
Pro that
actually,
it matters.
for the Scorpio, they are doing things on the 1080 version.
Yeah, I know they do it
of
for
output.
PS4 Pro as well. I was just, in general, I was saying, will it be enough to, like, what
Like
you're
it
talking
actually,
about?
when PS4 Pro came out, we had a little bit of a complicated sort of approach with our graphics comparisons
Yeah.
here, because you had to compare, even in
All the
1080p
different
mode,
versions.
you could do like higher fidelity graphics, higher frame rate, or like regular. There was just
Getting
a bunch
like
of
PC
different.
where there's different
Yeah.
settings.
Yeah, yeah, and you gotta
Like
know
Final
what
Fantasy
you're doing.
has that, for
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah, Tomb Raider
And then
does
within
too,
the
yeah.
games, then they have their settings there too. So you have the console level, and then you have the game level, and it was a little overwhelming.
But
at
it's
first.
cool. I mean, again, that's what I was getting at before. It's about feature set, and that's where, like, look, if you're good with the Xbox and you're interested in Scorpio and 4K, like, it could be super compelling. But for us, I think we're so heavy on PlayStation, and like, graphics are important to me, but performance actually is more important in that sense. Meaning, I'd rather have as long as they all run well, then I don't care that much
Yeah.
what platform I play on. However, I can tell you, if there's a performance problem on like PlayStation 4 or something,
You're gone.
And I would definitely,
Yes.
for sure.
Which again,
same.
I
Me
doubt
too.
that
I
that'll
doubt
be
that's
the
gonna
case.
happen.
Bungie's
Yeah.
been really good about making sure that, like, minus exclusive content and some random sort of in-game stuff, the games play exactly the same on either platform.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look better on PS4 than it does on Xbox One right now.
I was incredibly happy to see how close it was, 48% to 43%, because if it was all PlayStation, I would have been kind of bummed out. I want to see the communities even on both platforms, and I love seeing that there is going to be a substantial PC audience. I think a lot of people are really interested in the PC market.
That just
Oh,
won't
yeah.
happen. There's just way more PlayStations out there. You know?
Definitely.
Well, there's a lot of PCs out there.
I know,
Well, meaning,
you know
like,
what I
the-
mean,
think of
right?
the
Like, I'm
potential,
talking about
like-
parity between Xbox
Yeah.
versus PlayStation 4.
I think we're just not hearing from those PC gamers. I think there's going to be a big
Yeah, they have no
influx.
Yeah,
option.
the
man.
influx.
Like,
Yeah,
right
when it
now-
comes in.
Right now, Destiny 1's not on PC, so they're thinking only Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Sure.
put it simply, right? If they make a competitive PvP experience, that is closer to call it esports, that suddenly, right, it changes a ton about how Destiny is played, especially on a PC. I mean, those are the communities that get out there. They're playing at a very high level, competing at a very high level because, right, they want to play at 180 frames per second or whatever. So
I kind of don't want that for Destiny.
I've had this comment too. It's like, will this be better or worse for the community?
What?
Like PC. It's
Why would it be worse?
well, not worse, but it changes fundamentally how
So,
the game is
I
played
see what
and
you're
shared.
getting
You
at.
know what
Like,
I mean?
I don't think it's a bad thing that more people get to play Destiny, but I'm not sure that Destiny would be a great esport, or that the esports mentality or community would be good for the Destiny community.
yeah, and I wasn't saying
gonna be
make
fine.
it an esport or not, but we'll see. I think it has tons of potential. We talk about that, right?
yeah, the esports community ruined Rainbow Six.
Well, no, and I also
No, it didn't.
No.
I also
for
said
Overwatch, man.
no, but
Yeah,
like
great.
games that are designed for that's different, right? Like you're talking to a Counter-Strike player, so I love esports, StarCraft. Like I love esports, and I just think that that's not what players go to Destiny for, and the people who go to Destiny for a different reason than esports might be
We've
turned off by
talked
the
about it
esports
a lot.
mentality.
We've talked about it a lot on the show about trials
I was
and
just about
different
to say,
tiers and different
that is
options
esports.
there.
That already is.
And
Yeah.
like if they had like some sort of ranking system that put those ridiculously good players in a bracket and me in a bracket, it fixes
They
the
do.
carry problem.
But I
The
mean, it's
Elo,
not even
people
just
look at it every week.
But it's not even
Totally.
just having the right mode.
better
Like, look at
system.
a game like Dota, where skilled players who have higher MMRs are placed in higher brackets. That mentality of you're a noob, you don't know what you're talking about, you're terrible, and I'm not willing to teach you, and it's just super toxic, is at every level of the whole game, and people don't like Dota because of that. like
But
newbies.
it's not there for Overwatch.
All I'm saying is that's not true. Like
I'm sure it exists in every game. I'm sure
Yeah,
it even
I mean,
exists in
anything
a
with
lot of
Destiny.
those
It
competitive
exists in Destiny.
A lot of those
yeah.
competitive games have toxic competitive cultures because of the esports mentality. Everyone wants to be or play like a pro. All I'm saying is that I could potentially foresee a future in which the positivity and community like aspect of Destiny is affected negatively if it became more esports oriented. That's all I'm saying.
There's some validity to that, only because, again, I'm not down on the PC. I might go that direction as well. But a part of me wondered if they delayed private matches, if they delayed private matches so long for that reason. It allowed us to Sherpa. It allowed us to do only certain things within the game. Like, I mean, they had the ability to do that from day one, 100%. I remember we were debating this in Gamescom. Why did that take 2 years?
Yeah. Oh,
Like
it's
Bungie's
just
been doing that
the guys
forever.
who created
Yes.
like private
Matchmaking.
matches in Halo. Yeah.
Why did it
They
take
know
2
how
years?
to do
Well, they took away special ammo by the end of the game's life cycle, so it's just like
my God.
But
Don't
I
make me
don't
started on
understand how
special
I don't
ammo.
understand how they get to some of those decisions. But
I will say this.
I'm sure there's reasons,
But they
that we don't know of.
But they taught us potentially how to like parse out features and that being okay. And I don't think Destiny 2 is going to release with Trials, and I don't think it's going to release with all these.
I
things.
hope
my
they're
God.
Trials is like their
No, I'm with
biggest
CJ.
thing.
I think they're going to roll out some stuff.
I think they're going to roll it out
They're gonna
because
wait a
now
little bit.
they've trained us to.
Trials
to-
is the first one, right?
well,
Trials
it's
and
a
Rasputin,
DLC.
right?
Oh,
We
yeah,
don't-
the
we don't know.
expansion.
It's
were
Osiris.
saying,
Oh, yeah, I mean-
day one, every mode probably won't be in the game.
I'll bet you that
I agree with
mode exists, but I think what that expansion will be is like story campaigns exploring
that's
the
different.
lore
Yeah,
of
'cause
Brother
it's-
Vance, or that's his name.
CJ,
right?
you were just saying it
Yeah.
might hold it for 2 weeks or a
Or
month.
however
right?
long. Like it's
Yeah.
elimination in the Crucible
It
selection.
is the first DLC. It could hit that Christmas window.
But that's
Oh
my
God.
point.
If
Yeah.
can you
know.
imagine the uproar if
think we're-
Bungie
if
they
takes
held it for
away-
3 months.
Wait, was that your point
Yeah.
though, CJ?
Yeah.
That they might hold it until the expansion?
Or who knows?
Which was your point though, that they might just
no
hold it for
way.
a couple weeks or like a whole,
Why
like-
why was PvP not inserted into Destiny day one? Everybody has speculations about why that is.
Private matchmaking.
Private matchmaking. Like looking back now, I think it was a way to kind of like generate these kind of communities.
So like they want people to focus on the story for the launch,
Right.
and then when Christmas comes around, it's like, hey, here's a present. Trials is back.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that
I
mentality of
understand that
philosophy
thought,
being
yeah.
implemented, but like, can you imagine the uproar the community would have if something that was innate to the game was taken away for the sequel? It's
but
going backwards.
It's only 3 months.
Well,
you know?
Only 3 months.
We don't know anything. This is all speculation.
It is.
No, I
but
didn't know
it's
that.
a
That was
really
his point or
interesting
not.
thought.
Wouldn't you, as a player, if they were like, there's no PvP at the beginning of Destiny? Because
Imagine,
wouldn't that
imagine,
be
you're a
private
marketer,
matches.
imagine you're a marketing person at Activision or
I don't
Bungie.
care.
Just imagine for a second, what are they aiming towards? They're aiming towards people talking about a new cinematic story. It's all that's been in all the marketing material.
Yeah, so
It
all
would
you have
make
to do is
sense-
make a good cinematic immersive story. You
They
don't have
do.
to take away other features to do that.
They
don't
do,
think-
and then in December they want the conversation to be about trials.
I think that's part of it.
that's
You
what
wouldn't be
publicists
unhappy
do.
with that though?
I'm not talking about me personally. I'm talking about their marketing strategy.
But I could
and
I
why
could care less about
Yeah, I
what
don't care about
marketing
that
people
either.
want to do. I fight for the gamer.
I would draw more back to
Sean,
Bungie though, don't you think? Like
talking
it's-
about why they would do it. I'm not saying I'm not a gamer and I want them to take it away. That's ridiculous.
yeah.
I know. And I'm not saying that's what you're not saying. I'm not saying that that's what you're saying.
He's saying don't write it off because that's how they might think about it, right?
Ugh.
But no, what does
not.
Bungie
I know,
think is
but-
the real question? I think when they withhold stuff, it's because honestly, when you get a new game out there, you have to collect the data. So yeah, PvP on day one is already going to be a ton of things they got to look at. It's a whole new game. I think it's very valid to say that something like Trials won't be there on day one because holy cow, we've got all these, we've got a couple
Yeah.
new modes, we've got the old stuff that's shifted all around, new guns. There's so much they're gonna have to look at. That's why the beta, hopefully
Yeah.
gets a lot of that out of the way, but we know how that goes. So yeah, I would actually be willing to bet Trials won't be there day one.
Yeah.
I didn't know for sure if you thought that way, but would they hold it until
December. They hold it till December. That's what they did with
maybe.
what was it?
Small problem though.
It was
Here's the
Dark
big-
Below. Dark Below launched that
Yeah, it was
holiday,
December.
right?
Yeah, it was right before Christmas.
Yeah.
Really
But
interesting.
what did they
thing,
withhold
though.
there?
No,
Well,
raid
Trials didn't
and all
exist
this other
though.
stuff.
But Trials didn't exist.
Okay, but we're not. Yeah, okay, we're not talking about
Well, let
something
me
that
finish my
doesn't
point,
exist.
if I may. I was just going to say it'd be very interesting if they chose to hold it, not because it's 3 months, by the way. It's not the end of the world as you're playing this huge, hopefully new game with all these modes. I mean,
Yeah.
I play Trials every weekend. I'm thirsty for it. However, okay, maybe I got to wait 3 months as they get stuff sorted out because I don't want it to be a nightmare either. But you have to pay for that expansion. So that would be crazy.
That's
would
a
be
good
even
point.
worse.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So I
that
hope
would be
that
pretty
that's
shady.
not the goal. I hope
Paying
it's
for a feature that you already had in the last game.
Yeah.
Oh, that
So-
would be that's.
yeah.
No,
so
I
by the
know.
way, I don't
Let's
think
assume
they do
they're
that.
not dumb.
So by the way, I think here's the way to do it. You get Trials out there, but
Yeah.
it will be for everyone. But if you want to learn more about the stories behind Trials and all
Yeah.
of that, that's going to be part of the release. But I don't think the mode will be exclusive to that release.
I love the
It'd be
idea
crazy.
of them putting like positioning modes or features or things to do in the game behind the game's lore. So for instance, like Trials exists, but you can't do it until you complete the Trials quests or whatever, or the lore or whatever it is, the missions, or you reach X level. Like Trials is in the game, but you have to be level whatever, 40, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just like for it to not exist, anytime gamers get something and then later on are not getting it or have to pay for it,
They're going to be unhappy.
That's
But it's a brand new
terrible.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's valid.
No, I know, but
I know
like
we have expectations, but
as
We
the
have
sequel,
no
it should
idea what
probably
it even
build
looks
on it,
like.
you know?
But think about it, because what's going to be the next Trials? Like, so
Yeah,
right
good-
now...
good question. There
Right?
might be a new Trials.
There might be something new. And I think that's where... Even I read that statement where Bungie's like, well, it's all going away. But it's like, okay, they're able to say that because it's Destiny 2 and it gives them a fresh start. But going away, to me, is just a way to get them off the hook, but potentially re-release it in pieces later or figure out how they want to implement it differently, which I think they're going to do.
I mean, to your point, that there's an expansion. We know Trials is going to come back in some form.
Yeah.
When and how, we don't know. But at least meaning that one we can count on. It's different if you're like, will Prison be in the game? I'm like, looking at the expansions, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But Trials, probably Trials is
Yes.
going to be
Yeah.
a part of Destiny 2's experience,
At least
right?
elimination, right?
Well,
Or
no,
some-
Trials. I mean, like,
some form of competitive round-based multiplayer.
Elimination.
the expansion is based on the lore. So, like, I mean, if I would be willing to bet Trials will be in the game.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not they change it at all, but the
Right.
Trials competition and the card it will be in there, obviously.
Yeah, but they'll evolve it, I think. I mean, they did that between year 2 and 3, right? Oh, you can't apply your boons mid-round. You have to do it all at once at the beginning. Like, they'll find some way to
But
change
those are, like,
it a little
minor
bit.
tweaks,
No,
right?
but
Yeah,
they're
I'm all right with
There
changing
were some
how they
big ones,
affected how to
big
do
ones,
the
actually.
gameplay.
Let me play devil's advocate here and ask everybody one question. Sean,
jeez.
would you be heartbroken if they delayed Trials until December? Yes or no?
Heartbroken, yeah.
And
Just
angry.
delayed, not pay for.
Well, I mean, it's DLC. You're going to have to pay for it. Think of
Oh.
original Trials launched
different
with House of
question.
Wolves, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. So it launched with House of Wolves.
yeah,
I remember
you're
I did the preview and I said it's like the best multiplayer experience I've ever played.
Yeah.
It was a ton of fun. And I'm wondering if they delayed it and they made it part of DLC, which House of Wolves was, would that make you angry? Like, how would you feel?
Yes, I would feel angry because we're not talking about something that doesn't yet exist. We're talking about Trials of Osiris. Now, if it's something different, like 3 months down the line, we get a brand new Trials of Osiris. Maybe it's not called that, but it's not 3v3 elimination round based. It's 6v6
A story
something,
and-
or
yeah.
it involves vehicles. It's different. It's a
different.
new thing. I'm okay with that because that stuff takes time to develop and implement. But Trials as it exists now, if they were to withhold that from people and say, if they were to withhold that at all, that would be terrible, I think. And then if they withhold it and make you pay for it, I think that's anti-consumer.
People are going to go crazy.
I would go crazy. I
Fran?
think that's terrible. And I want to be clear, I don't think that's going to happen. I
Yeah.
just think it would be kind of bad if it did.
yeah.
So,
Fun speculation.
yeah, I would only
What
be
if they do something terrible? Let's talk about it.
I would only be upset if they made me pay for that part of the experience. Trials, to the point, like it's part of the core experience.
Yeah.
I would be bummed if like that mode, which is really brilliant, was withheld for additional money. However, I actually don't have any qualms with waiting 3 months. Again, I'm someone who wants it. The weekend it releases, I want to play Trials. But the reality is, and I'm experiencing this with so many games, there's so much to play. Hopefully the campaign quality experience, the raids, 3 months is fine. I'm fine waiting. And also there is an anticipation factor, right, in gaming and entertainment. There's something to be said about that carrot on the stick. So in short, if it's free, right, I think it could be awesome, and this huge part of this next 3 month, tent pole. We need those tent poles. Otherwise, it's like a buffet, man.
Yeah.
Like you just go to the buffet, and after you're like, oh god, and you feel terrible. Like I kind of like a good
Another food
paced
analogy.
meal.
Like a break, like they delayed
There it is.
the raids
True.
a little bit after the release.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you got to pace out, and it's the same conversation with raids, right? Like now,
Remember, we killed ourselves to get ready for Wrath.
yes. So pace it out. I don't have a problem, even though I would happily play it on that first weekend.
So I need to go back and read the one sheet,
Sorry.
but I do not remember Trials being listed. I do remember Crucible and new modes and
No,
stuff like that
I
being
didn't see
listed,
that, I don't
but I don't
think.
remember them specifically saying Trials of Osiris. I'll go back and look and paste it in the description of this episode. So what are your thoughts, CJ?
So I wouldn't be upset, but again, I think that the evolution of what it is, we're not sure. And I mean, I trust Bungie for that. I mean, 3v3 at first was like, what's happening? It was always 4v4. Slayer. Why am I a guy down? Mm-hmm. It didn't make any sense. And for the longest time, that's how my brain thought, being a Halo guy. But now it's like, oh, now it's 3v3. Will they change that? Are they going to build the maps to, reflect that? I don't know. So I'm obviously the current iteration of Trials I love. Carrot on the stick. The reason why we play it every weekend is because it's only available on the weekend.
Yeah.
If it was available all week, I don't think we would have that same hankering to buckle down on the weekend to do it.
I don't think CJ would be able to hold this job down.
I would not be here, but yeah. So, but that's the thing, and so for that reason, I'm excited to play it every weekend and do that. But there is this, mental, psychological, when it's, if I take it away from you, you're going to want it more, and
Exactly.
I'm there for that reason. So.
Okay, so my only thought is I wouldn't be too upset if they delayed it to December. I didn't make the connection that that's paid DLC, and
Delayed.
people will be angry, furious if they tie it to some sort of paid
Yeah,
paid
it comes.
item.
I think it comes down to whether or not it's
I would-
developing
yeah.
and implementing something new versus withholding something we already had.
Mm-hmm.
Trials of Osiris, as we know it, is 3v3 round-based elimination.
Mm-hmm.
If they're withholding that specifically from us, I'm against that. But if they're giving us a new competitive mode that isn't Trials of Osiris,
Yeah.
but is whatever, take
Added.
your time and implement that. 3 months down the line, if you want to make sure you get it right, that's fine by me. It's the whole idea of you had something before and now you don't have it, and this is the sequel. That's a little.
But to me, that's
sketchy
what
for me.
that's what Destiny 2 is, though. To me, I think to expect
It's a new
anything,
thing.
from Destiny 1 coming into Destiny 2 is not that's not going to be accurate.
We know Crucible is going to be there. We know what campaign is going to be there. We don't know
100%.
what it's going to play like. It'll probably have great gameplay.
Yeah, but is there going to be Rift, or maybe there might be Capture the Flag, or maybe there might be a bomb
how would you
game
feel if
like
they took away
Slayer.
Rift?
Slayer? Might be 4v4.
I mean, that would kinda suck.
Kilimanjaro.
But what if they had
know?
something different?
I mean, that's fine. I'm
They
not
take away
telling
Rift,
them-
but they have Capture the Flag.
I'm not saying they have to keep everything they wanted. All I'm saying is if you had something that was very popular amongst your fan base, and then you're taking that away and asking for money for it,
Iron
or
Banner's only for season pass holders, by the way.
Oh yeah, see, I would,
Yeah,
I would,
I know.
I would go
It's
crazy.
not joking.
God.
Yeah. But-
We
totally
Yeah.
makes sense.
We do have to wrap up this episode, but I want to
No.
give a shout out to the community. Why? What do you want to talk about?
We haven't even talked about the
don't know.
raids yet.
More?
The raids are great.
do I
We're
stop?
over on time.
I'm joking.
But I do want to say we'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about all our raid experience because we'll have completed all of them, and you will check in to see where you're at. Iron
Really?
Banner.
Can I just contribute something really quick? I got Zali's Bane, whatever the hand cannon.
Yeah.
Still sucks.
Of course, you're like,
Yeah.
holy
Yeah.
No range.
Reload. Oh wait, I'm just gonna hide in this corner for 10 minutes while
so.
I'm plugging the bullets back in.
So all I want to say is, do you guys have a thought on the Trials of Osiris conversation we had today? Give us a call at speakpipe.com/Fireteam chat, or if you have a thought about the Scorpio, PlayStation 4 Pro, and PC platforms, you can also leave a comment there, and we will talk about we will add you to the conversation on the show. Anyway, that is it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Fran, you ready to do this outro?
Thank you. As always.
All of us are going to do it. No Jose this week.
No,
So-
freaking
Hanging his
Jose,
head.
man. He can't do the outro to the show. Everybody out there, get ready to do it with us.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, Guardians out.